Hi Stampers, this is Dawn and today we're going to make this double peekaboo flap card. Isn't it cute? So this is how the card opens up. So you pull this front here and then you have the peekaboo window right here. So you reveal the little ladybug in the center. And then this little flower here is the little stopper for the front. And I got this idea from Sharon White. She sent me this card. Isn't it gorgeous? So cute. I love your card, Sharon. So here is the one that we made in the glitter pit. You can catch that live replay in the link down below in the description box. But this is the front of this one. Then you open it. It reveals a cute little bunny inside. And then on this one I did something slightly different. I added a panel to do some extra signing on the back. All right, but we're going to make this cute ladybug and we're going to also change the designer paper on this one. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's start with the card measurements. We're going to start with the base, which is the real red, and this is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. Then you're going to need another piece of real red, and this is cut at 4.5 by 5.5. Then you're going to need two pieces. Now the second piece is optional. That would be for your back piece, but these are both cut at 4 by 5.25. One for the inside of your card, and then one for the back. And then for the second panel of the flap card, your basic black is cut at 4 by 5.25, and then a piece of the Regal's designer paper. Remember, this is the 6 by 6 pack, and it's double-sided as well. And this piece is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. All right, so let's grab our trimmer first. All right, so we're going to grab our trimmer, and we're going to score. Let me make sure this is right. This is the 4.5 inch side across the top. So we're going to score this at 4 inches. Okay, then we're going to scoot this over and we're going to take this side that's not scored. We're going to line this up at 2 and we're going to make a pencil mark at the top and the bottom. And then we're going to turn it with the 5.5 inch side across the top. And we're going to make a pencil mark at 2 3/4. Okay, so you should have your two pencil marks here and here, and then a pencil mark up there. So now we're going to take our trimmer, we're going to diagonal cut from this point down to here, and this point down to here. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so now you have your diagonal fold for the front, and this will be where our peekaboo window starts. So now I'm going to go ahead and erase these pencil lines. So we're going to fold on this 1/2 inch score line right here, and this is what we want to burnish really nicely. You can actually fold it both ways. You just want to really break those card fibers down nice. Okay, so now let's grab our die cutting machine. Okay, so these are the layering circle dies that I'm using, and I'm going to start with the middle size in this collection right here that I'm holding. So this middle one right here is the one that I'm going to use to cut this first flap right here in the front of our card. So when centering this circle, you want to keep in mind that we're going to put a border around that. So you want to kind of leave enough room around that point there so your scallop frame sits on the front really nicely. That looks actually pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my die, the scallop, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out the circle. I'm going to go ahead and set the Big Shot just over here just for a second. So these are the next layers we're going to cut, matching this circle up with that. So I went ahead and put some snail on the back of this designer paper just to hold it in place. I'm just going to position that exactly right where I want it. And then we're going to take the card. Now the card's not going to open up like your typical card, like from the right to the left. It's going to open up the opposite way. So it's going to open up from the left to the right. And the front of the card is going to be behind this flap here. So what we want to do is we want to line this up right where we want it. Remember, this is the front flap, and then this is the back side here with that 1/2 inch score line. So once you get that right where you want it, you're going to go ahead and take your pencil and you're going to make a guide again right where that circle is. Okay? And then we're going to go ahead and get our Big Shot again over here. Open up our card. Now this time I'm going to use the next size down for the circle. So remember, this was the size that we used on the front, right here. Now this is the next size down that I'm going to use for the card part. Hopefully it doesn't move on my magnetic platform. Okay, that looks good. So we're going to go ahead and cut this circle out. Okay, so now let's do a dry run here. So let's take our flap and see your designer paper is going to actually show on that layer right there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut our designer paper. This time we're going to take our 2 layers and layer that on the front right with the circle that we just cut out. And we're just going to layer that exactly right where we want it. Now we can add adhesive if we want to kind of tack that down. But I find that if you just hold that in place and then flip that over, then take your pencil again and trace that out. And we're going to use the same circle that we cut out with this one. This is the smaller circle. So we're going to go ahead and put our circle on the back here. And then run that through the Big Shot. So the idea is you want all your circle cutouts to line up perfectly. Okay, so you're going to take your designer paper just like this, put that on top of the basic black, and then this is going to layer on top of the card, which if we lined it up, everything should be perfectly aligned. Okay, I'm going to do some quick stamping because I got to use the Big Shot again. So before we move that, I'm going to go ahead and stamp so I can cut that out. So we're going to take the Memento ink and we're going to stamp this Hey Lady, and that's from the Little Ladybug stamp set. I can actually stamp over here. And I'm also using the Stitch So Sweetly, and we're just going to cut out a frame for that for the back of my flap. And then we're also using the Ordinate frames. We're going to use this tiny little frame here to cut out the Hey Lady. So let's bring in the Big Shot again. Let's bring in our stamped image. Go ahead and cut out the Hey Lady. See if I can get this lined up without it moving on this side over here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut out the Stitch So Sweetly in the largest rectangle. I just want the scallops for this edge right here on our front flap. Okay, so I'm just going to cut one of those out with the Whisper White. Let's bring in our pieces. All right, so let's go ahead. Now you could also emboss this like Sharon did on her card. Let me show you again. She took the embossing folder and embossed the edge. Hopefully that can show up on the camera. But it's so pretty, Sharon, it's so beautiful. But I opted out of embossing this flap here, so I'm just going to keep mine plain. What we're going to do first, we're going to build our designer paper and our basic black piece. We're going to put those 2 pieces together. And then this piece should be fitted right over top of that circle cut out right there. So let's go ahead and attach those 2 pieces together. Okay, now we're going to take our piece of Whisper White. Now once again, you can just use some snail and just put a little bit on the back of that, because we're going to put this on the inside. And we're going to draw another guide with our pencil right where this circle is, because this is where we're going to stamp our ladybug. And you make sure after you stamp, you want to erase that. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. All right, now let's put our piece on the flap over here. So, oh, and I know what, I forgot to cut out that frame for the basic black, but we'll do that here in a second. So we're going to go ahead and put some tear tape on this edge right here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and, remember your card is opening up like this. remember? So we're going to take this little 1/2 inch, we're going to tuck that behind there, making sure the top and the bottom are perfectly aligned. Just like that, and then press that down in the back. So then this is how the card opens up, like that. So now this is where your other piece of Whisper White, if you wanted to camouflage that seam in the back, let's just go ahead and add a piece. You want to put the 4 by 5 1/4 piece behind here. Okay, so that's another place where you can sign for your card. All right, now let me go ahead and do some quick die cutting for that frame. And these are the two that I'm going to use for that. I used the front circle. Remember, this is the one I used for that. And then this was the smaller one that I used for the inside. Okay, so I'm going to take the one for the front and this larger size and the scallop, and I'm going to run that through the Big Shot with the basic black cardstock to create a frame for the front. So let me go ahead and do that really quick. Okay, so I cut out the frame that's going to go on the front of the card right here now. Okay, so don't forget to do that part because it kind of finishes it off. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and finish the inside of our card. We're going to go ahead and stamp. We're going to add our little ladybug here into the circle. And I have the stamps here that I'm going to use. This is the little ladybug stamp set that I'm using today. And this is a free stamp set for a qualifying order during celebrations. So this is over on March 31st. But so cute. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp our little ladybug inside of this circle. And then we're going to take the large flower that's also in this stamp set. We're going to stamp the flower right over here on the bottom right. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and stamp You're Cute as a Bug up here in the top right. And make sure the stamp's straight. Okay, that looks pretty good. Hopefully I can stamp it straight on here. That looks pretty good. All right, now remember we have the Hey Lady, and that's going to go on the front. All right, so now let me go ahead and erase the pencil line, and then I'm going to go ahead and color in the images with the Stampin' Blend. So let me get my eraser. Okay, these are the colors I'm using. I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green in the combo for the leaf part of the flower, and the Mango Melody in the combo for the flower. And then for the ladybug, I'm using the Real Red in the dark, the Crumb Cake in the combo, Pool Party for outlining the images, and then also Petal Pink for the little ladybug. All right, so let me go ahead and color these images in really quick. How cute is that? All right, now we're going to go ahead and put this on the inside of our card. My snail. So there's the center flap, and then the front flap flaps over like that. And then let's put our frame on. Okay, so there's the inside. There's the first flap and then the front flap. All right, now we got to still do a couple more things. So we're going to take our small blossom punch, and we're going to take the Daffodil Delight, and we're going to punch out 3 flowers. This is a free celebration item right now until March 31st. For every $50, you get to pick an item for free out of the Celebration Mini, which is this little mini catalog here. And this punch is right here. Small bloom punch. So cute. All right, so we're going to do something, a little trick with these flowers. Let me grab my Stampin' Pierce mat. And we're going to lay our flowers out on this mat, and we're going to take my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to take the end, and this is the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool, so I'm putting the cover back on that. This tool also has a stylus for one end, but I like my paper piercing poker thing here. So I'm going to take the cap and I'm going to press that into the Stampin' Pierce mat to give the flowers a little 3D effect. Okay, and then we're going to take our basic rhinestones, and I'm going to put a rhinestone right in the center of the flower. Now one of these will be used as the stopper for the front of our card. And then the other two will just be decorated around the edge. And you can use the mini glue dots or the mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini glue dots. Okay, now this one, you want to make sure you're knowing where you're putting the glue dot, because you don't want to hinder the opening of our card. So I'm going to put it actually over more to the right hand side, and then this is actually going to get glued to this panel of the card, but it's going to be as a closure for the front, just like that. Isn't that cute? So then this flap opens up, then you got the inside. So cute. All right, now one more thing. We're going to take this rectangle scallop edge right here. We're going to grab our paper trimmer. We're just going to add a little scallop edge around that real red part. So let me grab my trimmer. We're going to cut these at a 1/2 inch on the long end here. So we're going to open up our trimmer. We're going to line this up at a 1/2 inch and cut both sides. 1/2 inch. Okay, and then these are the two edges that we're going to use around the front of the card. Okay, so I'm going to grab my liquid glue, and we're going to start with one side here. So we're going to add a little edge of the liquid glue around the point, and then take one of our scalloped edge, and I'm just going to, I want to put it right up to that dotted edge, just so that the scallops are showing, just like that. Just hold that in place so the glue adheres it down. And then I'm going to grab my scissors. I'm going to cut this away on both sides. Then we're going to add the other one on the other side. Making sure to put some on the white too, because we're going to overlap this piece so it looks like it's one whole piece in the front. Once again, we're going to line that up right where that scallop, there's a little dotted line there, and then I'm going to line up that other scallop from the one we just cut off, kind of overlapping them. Making sure you adhere it down just by holding it, the glue. And then trim this edge off here. So the edge just gives it more of a definition when the card is closed. I mean, this is totally optional. You don't have to add that whisper white piece, but it looks so cute, doesn't it? Oh, I love it. So then one more thing, we're going to add our little hello lady, and I'm going to use the dimensionals for that. I got the black dimensionals. I'm going to put 2 on that. Hey, lady. Let's put that right there. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. So then when you open it, just going to open it like this and like this. And then, of course, you have the extra panel on the back, which is totally optional as well if you want to have more space to write on your card. Okay, so let me show you the other ones. Here's the one I got from Sharon. And then this is the one I made previously. With just this is the Golden Honey designer paper, where the designer paper is black, white, and gold on one side, and then black and white on the other side. And then I also added a layer here. So in case you don't like that layer here, just cut your cardstock at 4 inches by 5.5. And then just mark it like we did to make the diagonal. So you're going to mark it at 2 and then 2 3/4, make your diagonal, and then you'll have like a little mask. That's optional too. All right, so now let me show you the other one that's similar to the one we made in the glitter pit using the Welcome Easter. So cute. All right, so if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll have all the items listed below. And then don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Bye.